What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the TMPodcast. I'm your host, TMP Chuck. And this episode, I'm going to be talking about identity and self-perception. I'm going to tie a little bit of that into the music. So if you're listening on Anchor, you'll be able to hear different songs that I put into the episode. But other than that, I'll just be talking about, just some of the lessons that I learned just through age and everything like that, about how we see ourselves and how other people see us. So if you got anything to add to the convo, make sure to hit me up on Twitter at OddcastTMP. That's ODCASTTMP, or hit me up on the TM Podcast Facebook page. So we'll take a quick break and we'll get into the episode. So for context sake, I'll tell you why I was considering doing this episode or having this be the theme for the episode. I'm getting close to, already past the 3-quarter mark in my career. Been working, doing the same job for over 15 years now. And I'm kind of looking back at, is this where I'm at? Is that where I was expecting to be? Did I fall short? Did I meet my goal? Did my goals change and everything like that? And one of the things about where I work is that a lot of it can really come down to who you work with, who you work for. And so some past progression can be taken away from you. Like the ownership of it is taken away from you. It depends on, how you seem or how you look on paper and things like that. So I took a little bit of break from work. I didn't go to work for like 2 weeks. And then when I finally went back in, I was sitting in the car and I was like, am I the version of myself that other people see me as? And just to put that in context, I'm aware that people view me in a certain way, which is more or less positive. The more that they know me, the more likable I am, I guess. And I try to be that way, but really I kind of lost the ability to lie to people or fake it with people. So I kind of just tell people what's on my mind. I'm cordial about it, but I'm not rude. I'm just honest. And I like to be introspective and ask questions for things that I don't understand. And people respect that about me, I think, to some degree. And they say things to me immediately. I've heard it more than once where people who just met me are I really like talking to you and things like that. And a lot of people that are in a higher echelon than me will say that kind of stuff to me. And it wasn't always that way. I'll tell you that straight off the bat. But early in my career, I had to end up working with people who were at a way higher tier than me. Pretty much at the top tier that you could be at. And so I had to learn how to talk to those people. And I never wanted to be inauthentic. I never wanted to come across as somebody that's, is afraid to speak up. So I just kind of understood how to maintain a candor and tact while I talk to people, that typically a lot of other people are afraid of. For whatever reason, I don't know, man. I can't figure that out. Just because somebody is in a higher position than you doesn't mean that they're a more valuable person than you are. And I've always kind of kept that. It took a while for me to get to that point, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But basically, I approach things like this. We're on equal ground. You might have been here longer. You might have worked harder than me. But our value is the same overall. And to that extent, the way I approach talking to people is conversational. Somebody asks me if I have a problem, I'll tell you I have a problem. It's that simple. It's not, to me, it's nothing. There's been times I've said stuff to people and other people pull me to the side and they're like, oh, you can't say that, you can't say that. And to me, it doesn't make sense. I don't understand why. Because I wasn't rude about it, or I don't place blame where it doesn't belong, I don't think. And I try not to call people out because sometimes there may be, you might see step A and step C, but you don't know what step B was. So I was just sitting there when I came back to work, to bring it back to the story. I was just sitting there and I was thinking, is this where I want to be? Do other people see me as the person that I see myself as? And am I looking at myself through a different lens than everybody else is? And in my job, we go through a lot of leadership training, just to kind of get people ready to take on supervisorial and managerial positions. We want to have good leaders, so a lot of training goes into that. You can go back to 2 episodes ago when I did the Rick Ross. I took a little bit of that knowledge and kind of flipped it and tried to, make it interesting by relaying it to Rick Ross lyrics. But we do a lot of kind of stuff like that. So one of the things that we kind of go over is, your ideal self, how you see yourself and how other people see you, and how all of those things could be different. Like the real you could be different from how you see yourself. The real you could be different from how other people see you. Other people can see you different from how you see yourself. A really good metric of that, I think, is if you look at Facebook. If you're on social media, typically people put out the most pristine version of themselves on social media. Like, this is, me with no problems, no issues. I'm out here having fun. Or you got other people that want sympathy. So they kind of put out, all their pain. They put it out on Facebook, which is a way of venting. Not judging that, just saying. Some other people I noticed the older that I got, my social media started being less about me and kind of more about what else was going on in the world. It got a little less personal. I don't know what that's about. I probably got to reflect on why that is. But the person that you see on social media might be completely different from the person that you know in real life. And I see that a lot with a lot of friends that I knew from before Facebook or Twitter was a thing. I'm not saying people are playing a role. I'm just saying that, you get what's unfiltered about Facebook is that this is how I see myself. And you put that out on social media and you 100% control the narrative because other people don't have enough context to put together that whole picture. So I really think that that's kind of interesting because in terms of kind of relaying it to the theme of the podcast, when you listen to music or when you view art, you're getting that version of that person from their most ideal self, if that makes sense, or maybe a fictionalized version of themselves. I think about this. So I saw a tweet from Meg Thee Stallion the other day, and she said she was getting ready to put out new music under a new identity, which to me I think is kind of interesting. It's the same with Nicki Minaj with the Roman Reigns, and way back in the day with Tracy Lee when he did Many Faces. How when you have art, you can control the narrator. Kind of the same. I could do it with this podcast. I could be like, hey, coming live from this yacht, sipping on this, sipping on Ace of Spades or something like that. And I ain't doing that in real life, but y'all don't know because it's just what I'm telling you.